I feel like a lot of people, especially in the creative lane, they talk a lot about, self-investment. And I agree that self-investment is one of the key things. I don't care what level you're on. Because you can look at people, not to be doing the whole name dropping thing, but there's a comedian I follow, Andrew Schultz. And he's self-made, and he invested in himself and he used the internet to boost his comedy in a world where a lot of people don't even they're afraid to post their comedy on any social media because they're like, oh, the people won't steal it, or oh, I can't use it again. He did it and it worked out for him. So the point I'm making anyway is no matter what lane you're in, whether it's comedy, filmmaking, acting, I feel like there's a certain level of self-investment that goes into it. It doesn't matter if you're grassroots level on the bottom or if you're all the way in the top. There's a certain level. At some point, there has to be an initiative taken by you where you go, either I have no opportunities, I'm going to create one, or I have all these opportunities, but I still need to create the one specific opportunity that I want. And I'm not sitting here, talking like I'm some hotshot or whatever. I'm just saying I'm just a guy who, developed a certain level of a business in which I know that self-investment was the number one reason why I was even able to do what I've been doing so far. So right now on the line, I got my guy Kai Strachan. He's an actor based in Los Angeles from Bahamas. Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, y'all? What's up, world? Thanks for having me, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anytime, man. I appreciate you coming through. Well, calling in.
Right, not literally coming through, but I'm there.
Right. We're doing the quarantine thing, but yeah. So look, the reason why I wanted to get Kai on the line is because I work with a lot of actors, and I'm not, I know everybody's situation is different, but what stood out to me is that Kai took the time to invest in his own content. When I first met him, Kai was already doing his own thing, but when I reached out to him to do a short film, it went pretty smooth. It was a 2-day shoot, and it came out pretty dope. We got a lot of, great feedback and responses and everything like that. Ever since then, there was a little bit of time that went by. He reached out to me personally to, DP and edit his content. And I noticed that it was just, I'm not even gonna lie, bro, it's the way you went about it. I could tell, like, you really want this. Like, you make sure everything was prepared. You had the vision, the ideas, and from every last little nook and cranny, you made sure you had it ready to go.
Yes,
So,
sir.
speaking to other actors, now, in your opinion, speaking to other actors who want to get to that same level that you're at, in terms of this, like, investing in yourself, what would you say is the first thing that they should do? Should they, like, stop waiting on auditions, or what do you think they're doing that's kind of preventing them from doing that? Because not a lot of them are doing it.
Well, the first thing and the first step I would say is to get out your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the most open person in the world and, I'm the most friendliest, but, I know how to play that role.
Right.
But with that being said, it's just like we're in a city, for example, like LA, it's overpopulated by living in every industry, it's overpopulated, and you got to figure out a way to stand out. And what I noticed when I was here, a lot of LA people, or better yet, a lot of people who live in LA, let me don't say LA people, a lot of people who live in LA, which are majority people who aren't from here, they sit around and they wait. And it's just like, I saw this trend, like everyone's waiting for an opportunity. Yeah, people are auditioning, I have conversations, but like, yo, so like, what projects you got going, what you doing? And it was almost like the same response. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some people just like, I got this, I'm doing this, I write as well. A lot of people are in different avenues, but it's all about getting out. The first step I would say is getting out of your comfort zone and talking to people, learning, because when I first came out here, no one told me what to do, how to do it without me asking them, like, well, what do I need to do to really get started? Like, I didn't know I needed headshots. I didn't know I needed to go on these certain websites such as LA Casting, Actors Access,
Right.
and so on and so forth. And so to be honest, the first step is getting out of your comfort zone and just doing it. Literally just doing it.
Now, if we could speak to the self-investing part, right? Because we know that they need headshots, they need a reel and everything, right? But can you speak to the part of you, getting a script, whether they write it themselves or they get other people to help them? What made you even, like, when you hired me to DP your stuff? You said, look, okay, this is the budget I got. I want you to do this part, this, and the third. You call everybody, made it happen. And then you did it again, and then we have more on the way, right?
Yeah.
How hard is that to do for the average person who's working a regular job and has to put money to the side and they got to maintain their acting classes and everything like that?
Honestly, it's not hard. And as cliche as it might sound, life is a choice.
Right.
And a lot of people, they make certain choices. I can give you an example. Yeah, you know, you work in a 9-to-5 job for the most part. Acting or modeling might be your little side thing until you get that one big gig that, like, sets you up for life. That's cool and all. Like, you know, that's great.
Right.
But at the same time, you still have the same 24 hours as everybody else. Like, I get it. You know, you get tired after a job. You go to the gym. You don't want to do nothing, but you still have the weekend. So it's all about sacrificing and literally finding out what's best for you. Like, if you really want something and you really want to do something, you do it. I feel like we people and we human beings, we always want to do stuff that we want to do, when we want to do it, how we want to do it. We don't like people to tell us when to do it. And so we got to get out of that mindset. It's like, you want to be this actor, you want to be this producer, this director, you got to invest in yourself. You have to sacrifice. Even if that means, like, you know, you can't go out for the weekend because you got to save up for this shoot. Or you can't buy some clothes from online, some shoes, because you got this shoot coming up. It's all about a sacrifice. Like, I feel like a lot of people who are self-motivated and they're self-invested, they don't really ask the question, how am I going to do this? You know, they think about it, but they don't really process and think about how they're actually going to do it without making any excuses. I feel like everybody always have an excuse. Right. And so for me, it was just like, man, yeah, I'm getting auditions here and there, but at the same time, I have some free time. Why not make use of it? Why not invest in myself, you know?
What are the costs of being an actor outside of just regular adult stuff that we all go through? Can you name any specific costs that go just for being an actor?
Honestly, you know, this is a very expensive profession because you're not getting paid until you really start doing some stuff. But, you know, the average headshots would probably be anywhere from around $100 to $150 starting, right? Acting classes probably about $150 to $300 a month. These different platforms that you put yourself out on, they range from either $100 a month, $100 a year, or you can do the monthly thing where it's anywhere between $10 and $20, just $10 and $30. It just all depends. And then at the same time, you gotta, you know, upgrade your wardrobe. You gotta pay for gas. You gotta, you know, pay for travel accommodations sometimes. So it's honestly, it's a very, very, very expensive profession to want to be in. But if this is something that you love and that you care for, you know, the money doesn't matter. You know, you'll figure it out. You'll find a way.
What's your goal in terms of the content that you're putting up?
So my goal is to get my own face out there. You know, like, I know I might not have the biggest pull or, you know, the biggest following in the whole wide world, but at least I'm out there doing something. You know what I'm saying?
Your stuff is moving too on IGTV. I see you, like, you know, hitting 4 digits.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, man. It's just one of those things. I've noticed that, like, yeah, everybody won't support you when, you know, times are rough, right?
Right.
But people seem to always want to support you when they see that it looks like you're having some type of success or you're successful at doing something or completing a task.
Right.
So for me, it was just like, what am I waiting for? Again, going off what you said, I have nothing to lose. Like, I could sit here every weekend and think about, damn, I had no auditions or I have no bookings. Or I can just literally network with the people that I've met, because it's all about who you know, and figure out, like, yo, like, how can I create my own film? Like, do I need to buy a script? Can someone write me a script? I need a DP. I need a director. I need a location. What all do I need? I mean, and the thing is, a lot of people think making a film is expensive. It really isn't. It's just you want to shoot, how you want to shoot it, and who you want involved. You know, again, it's another investment. It's just like, are you going to invest in yourself, or are you just going to wait for someone to invest in you?
Right. Right. And now let me ask you a question. Among your peers, other actors that you come across, whether it's auditions, acting, or do you do acting class?
I do.
Oh, okay. So acting class and just overall networking, moving around the city and everything. What would you say is the number one factor that's holding other actors back? I mean, obviously we know there's a certain part that's not your fault. It's really you can go to all the auditions you want and everything like that. But what would you say is the number one thing that is holding them back generally?
The number one thing I would say is fear and confidence. Those two literally.
Wait, I'm sorry. The phone chipped up. Say that one more time.
I said the number one thing would be fear and confidence.
Fear and confidence.
Yeah, those two for sure. And I'm gonna tell you why. Fear because they don't want to fail or they don't want people to not like what they have or what they're doing. Confidence because they don't know or trust themselves to be great enough to just do whatever and not care about what opinion someone has to say. Again, I'm not the world's best person in the whole wide world, but confidence, and I know every time I shoot a film or do a photo shoot, I love it. And I'm doing it. I'm doing something that I love, so I'm happy with myself, and I'm content. Right. I don't fear, the likes and the views. Like, people get caught up in, this person's doing that. They got about 10,000 views. Good for them. They're in their own lane. Right. You also don't realize how long that person took to create their own lane to get 10,000 views. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You got to start somewhere. Like, Denzel Washington wasn't always great Denzel Washington. He sucked at one point. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Tyler Perry sucked at one point. Diddy sucked. Jay-Z sucked. But they all didn't give up, and they all had confidence, and they didn't let fear get in the way of them.
That's a huge fact, man. Huge fact.
Yeah, man. It's like I know a decent amount of actors, actresses, models, videographers, etc. Right? And I kid you not, literally the main factor is fear and confidence. I can't tell you how many times people have congratulated me like, yo, bro, I can't believe you're doing this. I wouldn't be able to do it. And I'm just like, damn, man, like, where's your confidence, bro? Like, anybody can do it.
Yeah. Man, that's a huge fact, man. And to be honest, that's with everyone, even myself. I mean, there were times where I was sitting there like, okay, man, I gotta have this, trying to focus on getting everything perfect. And then you gotta realize, man, it's all about humbling yourself too. You don't got a big budget? Cool, write you a story that takes place in an apartment. Write you a story that takes place at the park or something, the beach, or whatever you got to do. I mean, there are a million stories that take place in everyday life, so, I mean, yeah, it comes to a point where you're not going to make a Chris Nolan film right now. You're not going to do the 2020 iRobot. It's just not going to happen. But to truth be told, you could still do crime thrillers. You could still do dramas, comedy, whatever it is that you want to do, and, work it to however your budget is working, so...
For most people that are just starting out, right, it'll be safe to say they're at the bottom of the food chain, for example. Right. Hypothetically, they're at the bottom, right? Because they got to work their way up. But I've learned that the only direction you can go when you're at the bottom is to the top. True. So it's just like, well, what are you waiting for? You're already at the bottom to a certain extent, right? You can't get lower than the bottom. I meet all of these people and these artists, these creatives, and, everyone's dope, everyone's doing this, but not everyone's doing something for them, and I know it can be hard, and, like, I know it's not easy finding, people that you trust or people you'll be able to get along and work with, but it's just like, there's billions of people in the world, millions of people in LA. I'm pretty sure you're going to find at least one person who's on the same mindset as you. When I first moved out here, I didn't know diddly squat. And you know what I did? I was on IG, searching up photographers, searching up this, reaching out to them, being like, hey, man, love your work. Would love to work with you. Some responses went well. Some responses didn't. The worst thing they can tell me is no. And I'll just move on to find another photographer, another producer, another writer to work with. Someone's going to want to work. Right. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's going to want to work.